The biggest core wound of fearful avoidance is a feeling of unsafety. On the outside, they look like very tough cookies, but on the inside, they have a very vulnerable center. And unfortunately, because they feel unsafe in many situations, it leads them to anger outbursts or withdrawal. It also ends up in controlling behaviors and suspicion. The way that fearful avoidants try to pacify their feelings of unsafety is through often control, either controlling themselves, their own emotions, or controlling their partners, which is to a lesser extent. Often the fearful avoidants will try to control themselves. Sometimes they even have eating disorders, which is just an indication of trying to manage the very challenging internal emotional states. Fearful avoidants can often have addictions as well as a way to cope with their feelings of insecurity in the world. Sometimes before they start working on themselves, they might not be aware of how unsafe they actually feel because those unsafe signals have been suppressed throughout childhood. Because if you can imagine growing up around parents who might have been abusive, alcoholic, or just emotionally unstable, you would have to numb yourself to your danger signals to a certain extent so that you could survive in that environment. And therefore, now as adults, they still are a little bit numb to the signals of danger. And this is also the tricky part, which predisposes them to miss red flags in relationships, be that romantic relationships, friendships, or even in work relationships. So for the fearful avoidant, it is extremely important to find spaces where they feel safe. What helps them to feel safe is becoming masters at emotional regulation, understanding their emotional component through every single video that I do. I'm going to tell you again, go to my website, get the feelings and needs list. Once you can understand your feelings from that perspective, it will help tremendously. And also, what's incredibly important for fearful avoidance is to have people in their lives who are steady bases of support with whom they can feel safe with. Not only safe physically, but safe to open up and be vulnerable. Now, I've just done a video about the difference between the exposure and vulnerability, which fearful avoidants often mix up. So I suggest if you are a fearful avoidant or want to understand a fearful avoidant that's in your life, go and have a look at that one, because often fearful avoidants will expose their trauma instead of being able to show up vulnerably. And relationships is where our trauma happens, and this is where we have to heal, especially for the fearful avoidant. They have to heal their trust in other people. So having a friend or romantic partner, a therapist with whom they feel safe to be vulnerable and really kind of make sense of the very confusing emotional soup that often happens inside of them, that is going to restore their faith, not only in themselves and their ability to cope and move through emotions, but also in other people, which will make relationships a lot lighter. It will pacify all of the actions that really are just trying to find soothing in the moment, like suspicion and checking out their partner's phone, to really finding safety. The last thing I'm going to leave you here with is fearful avoidants often try to get safety through being hypervigilant and extremely aware of their partner. So if you are the partner of the fearful avoidant, or if you're the fearful avoidant and you have people in your life that are trying to understand you, what you can ask of them is to be transparent with you. So the more transparency a fearful avoidant will receive from a person, that will put their mind at ease. So fearful avoidants will often try to figure out what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you perceive certain things, what you need before you tell them, because they feel unsafe. And sometimes they call themselves empaths. And this is the reason. It comes from this feeling of unsafety. So if you would like to support a fearful avoidant, or if you're just trying to understand yourself if you are the fearful avoidant, then understand that this need for extreme depth and knowing somebody's trauma and how they think and feel in each moment is a trauma response. It is a way for you to try to get safety. So in the moments when you have that need to just pull information and ask many questions from people around you, just pause and see if you can regulate your breath, notice your heart rate, and see if you can calm your body. Because often fearful avoidants do not realize that they are in fight or flight mode, often very functional fight and flight mode, where they are just moving through their life a little bit activated and very quick to be reactive. So if in those moments when you are reacting, like trying to check your partner's phone or being hypervigilant, asking many questions, trying to control your food or your life, your apartment, your partner, or anybody in your life, your work, pause and see how you can find your way back to safety. Like I said, finding resources online is incredibly beneficial. However, a part of this work needs to happen in connection to have the full healing of the fearful avoidant attachment style. And that can be done through having a close, trusted person that can be an attachment figure, or if you can, having a professional that works especially with attachment is going to skyrocket the fearful avoidance recovery. Thank you so much for watching. Let's shift from surviving to thriving together, create lives of love, safety, and freedom. And I'm Patricia Mohatska from the Love and Thrive School. I'll see you in the next one. Big love.